You know, I went to speak at a school not too long ago. And after the presentation, all the kids had a bunch of questions. And at the back of the room, there was this young girl. Her name was Amanda. And she was in a wheelchair. And Amanda put her hand up and I said, yeah, how can I help you? And she said, Jeff, I just want to know, when did you know that you were worth it? And I thought, wow, what a powerful question for such a young woman. And I could tell that she had something she wanted to say. So I said, I got a question for you. When did you know that you were worth it? Amanda paused for a second and she said, you know, when I was born, my parents were told that I wouldn't live past 5 years old. I have done over 100 operations. And after the last operation, I remember waking up in the recovery room and I saw all my family around me and I started to smile. And I looked over and I saw my doctor had a worried look on her face. So I said, Doc, what's wrong? She said, Amanda, you died twice on the operating table. And I just got to tell you, you inspire me. Every time you wake up from an operation, every time you come and see me, despite what's going on with you physically, you always have a reason to smile. Amanda looked at me and she said, you know, I'll never walk like everybody else. I don't know how long I'll be on this earth. I don't even know if I'll be around long enough to fall in love. But it was at that moment that this doctor who has worked on thousands of people who has done hundreds of operations, I knew when she told me that I was worth it, that I could inspire her. I am worth it. And I went home that night and all I could hear was Amanda's voice saying, I am worth it, I am worth it, I am worth it. Later on that same week, I go to another school to speak. I give an amazing presentation. As I'm leaving, I hear a commotion down the hallway. I look down and there's a fight that broke out. Like, how's a fight breaking out after my amazing presentation? The principal goes down and grabs one of the kids who's fighting and throws him in her office. So I got to know what's going on. The principal says, yeah, that's Andre. He's in my office 2, 3, 4 times a week. So I say, what's happening with Andre? She said he was abandoned as a child. He doesn't know who his parents are. And even his foster parents don't give him the love that he truly needs and desires. So at that moment, I went into the office and I closed the door behind me. And Andre was on the other side of the room and he was fuming. And he was about to say something and I put my hand up. I said, Andre, you have to know that you are enough. He said, what? I said, listen, you have to know that everything you need is already inside you. You are good looking enough. You are smart enough. You are brave enough. And at that moment, Andre ran towards me. And when he got to me, he opened up his arms and jumped in my chest and he cried for about 5 minutes. And I had Andre repeat, I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. And the next couple of days, all I could hear was Amanda's voice saying, I am worth it. And I heard Andre's voice saying, I am enough. I am worth it. I am enough. I am worth it. I am enough. And I said, I got to get something done about this. So I went out and I got this bracelet made. And on one side it says, I am worth it. And on the other side it says, I am enough. And when they got delivered, I went all the way back to Amanda's school. And I gave her when I told her all about Andre. And I went all the way to Andre's school and I gave him when I told him all about Amanda. And I told him that these are the only 3 custom-made bracelets made in the entire world. But the sad thing is, I've had to make a lot more. Because every time I stand in front of an audience, whether it be teachers, whether it be students, whether it be in the corporate world, there's always somebody who's brave enough to say that they don't see their value, that they don't see their worth. So if you are in earshot of me right now, and you don't see your value, you don't see your purpose, you don't see your worth, I need you to listen and to listen very clearly. Of the 7.7 billion people to be living on the earth right now, actually, let's go back even further. Of the 108 billion people to have ever lived on this earth, I'm talking about from the very first people, from Adam and Eve, all the way to the baby that's being born right now. You have to know that there's never been another you. There's never been a you before you, and the day that you leave this world, there will never be another you after you. So you have to know that your thoughts matter. Your dreams matter. Your goals matter. The things that you conjure up in your head, they matter. And I know we live in a world that makes you feel like you're not enough. The images you see on social media, it leaves you feeling like, I can't even compete. The things you see on TV, it makes you feel inadequate. It doesn't even look like you. Their definition of beauty, their definition of masculinity, it makes you feel like you're not enough. But you have to know that you were made perfect. Your scars, your love handles, your stretch marks, your uneven hairline, that one crooked tooth that you might have, your imperfections were made perfect for you. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. And the day that you can grasp that your definition of beauty, that your definition of masculinity, that your value, that your worth goes way beyond the power of their measure, it's the day that you can look at yourself and say, I am worth it. And by God's grace, I'm enough.